Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is what makes a story meaningful in, any game, but specifically right now, Wizard101. Now, I was thinking about this because people in my Discord are rioting, demanding I make a History of the Spiral video series, despite the fact I've already made one. They could continue where I left off at Azteca, but yeah, I'll see about that in the future, whatever. But I was thinking, I was like, storylines, right? Stories, history, all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, what truly makes a good storyline? And I wanted to talk about this specifically because I was thinking of my different favorite worlds. The worlds that I think have a better storyline, have a worse storyline, all that. And I wanted to I was like, what makes them truly have a better storyline versus a worse storyline? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to analyze what I think the most major thing is for anyone that impacts how much they enjoy a story. And I'm going to do this by looking at some of my favorite worlds and some of my least favorite worlds. So in regards to sorry, let me amend that. I don't dislike these worlds naturally. I'm just talking about in regards to story. So first, I'm going to talk about one world that I dislike in regards to the story, and that's Crocotopia. I think for me, and for most people, the storyline in Croc honestly isn't that impactful. Really, all you do is save the Manders, all that, which is good, by the way. Yeah, saving people from slavery is good. That's a good thing. But I'd say it isn't that impactful. Now, why does Crocotopia's story not feel impactful compared to other stories? To me, this is for one reason and one reason alone, and that is how much it impacts the broader story of the arc. I think that Crocotopia, out of all of the Arc 1 worlds, is the least impactful in regards to the story, and I think that there's a few reasons for that. You come in, you learn that Malastare is trying to find the Croconomicon, and you know that the Croconomicon is, designed by the Order of the Fang. So you need to find the Order of the Fang. Your entire purpose of this trip is to find the Order of the Fang, and once you do find it, you need to get the Croconomicon, and then you find out that it has been given to Malastare. Now, the reason why I think that Crocotopia as a whole isn't as impactful is because you don't actually see Malastare. It feels like you did all of Crocotopia for nothing, for one thing, but for the second thing is it feels like in regards to that nothing, you didn't even get anything out of it. Like, you didn't get a cool scene where you see Malastare leaving and going somewhere else, or, well, okay, you don't see his frustration in any way, right? Because it isn't actually that he gets the Croconomicon from Crocotopia, he gets it from Marleybone and it's delivered to the Royal Museum. But you don't actually see Malastare in any way, and it kind of makes the entire world feel a little bit strange. Because it feels like you're searching after this elusive Croconomicon the entire time, and you never actually get it. All you really did was help save the people of the world, which we do with every world. It's a matter of it feels less impactful. Now, I'm going to go for the flip side of that, and a world that has a similar case, but I think the story is a lot better, and that's Mushu. Mushu is a similar case, and we don't actually see Malastare. But what I think the most significant difference between Crocotopia's story and Mushu's story is that Crocotopia's story doesn't necessarily fit in with the overall arc story, while Mushu's does, because Mushu, every single, like, all the warlords and every single problem that's happening in Mushu is a direct cause by Malastare coming in and poisoning the Emperor. I think this is really cool because it feels like everything is connected. We're saving each of the streets, trying to repair, or trying to regain the items of the Emperor from the Onis throughout the streets, defeating them one by one and restoring order. I think that this is really, really good, and the story feels a lot more impactful for the specific reason that it feels like not only that you're saving the world, but it also ties directly into the arc. And I think that that is something that makes a story much more impactful than a story without. Now I'm going to give 2 more examples of this, and this is something I've thought for the longest time. So we'll see if you agree with me here. I think that one of my least favorite stories in the entire game is Avalon. Now, I love Avalon. You guys know I love Avalon. I've mentioned 100 times that I love Avalon. It's such a good world. But you're like, whoa, Noah, you love Avalon. Why are you saying that the story is one of the worst in the game? And it's because the entire goddamn Avalon story feels like it's for nothing. And that makes me angry, because the entire point of Avalon, there was 2 points of Avalon for us, the viewer. One was to set up the story of Morganth. I feel like it did a pretty good job of that. That's okay. But the second thing it was supposed to do in regard to Arc 2 was give us a weapon worthy of fighting Morganth's Deck of Shadows, and it gave us the Sword of Kings. Now, the problem with this is that the Sword of Kings is hot garbage. The stats are absolutely gross, they're awful, and what it does is it feels like you did this entire world to get this powerful weapon that you're just gonna throw in your bank or feed to your pet or delete, right? Because there's no point in keeping it, because it is garbage. And this makes me angry, because if we're doing an entire world specifically being hyped up for this one item that's supposed to defeat Morganth, make it an item that I'm going to wear defeating Morganth, alright? That's just a flaw that I've always found in the world. I feel like it directly ties into the fact that it doesn't, like, it's not necessarily that it doesn't tie into the arc, it directly opposes Arc 2's major story, which makes me a little bit mad. Now, I've gone over changes that I would make to the Sword of Kings in the past, so if you want to find that video and watch it, you can. But I just think the easiest thing to do would to be just to add a little bit of damage. If they added some damage, it not only would make it worth using, but it would still be balanced, because it's still, as long as they make it like around the level of the Skyr and Hasta, that's fine. That means that you would use that right up until, say, you get a new weapon at level 100, 110, right? And I think it would be incredibly balanced to add damage to it, and it would make it so that you actually use it. And it just pisses me off, because it feels like such a good world is marred by the fact that the story sucks. Now, let's go into the final example of a good story, and that is Polaris. Now, I think Polaris is amazing in every way, but the story specifically is extremely good, and I think the reason for that is that it ties in so well to the rest of Arc 3, and it sets up Arc 3 fantastically. Everything about it is really, really good, because we learn at the end of Chrysalis that Grandfather Spider released his children on the world and are going to create chaos, and we can see that throughout Polaris. Polaris is absolutely, ravaged by chaos created by Rasputin, and we see him doing that. We go and we actually have to defeat Rasputin, but that isn't the end of it, obviously, because it ties into the rest of Grandfather Spider's children, and I think that it works perfectly with the rest of the arc. So that's going to be my last example. Now, what have we learned? I would say that ultimately a good story is made by tying into the arc and the world feeling impactful. A world like Crocotopia or Avalon, where it feels like the impact overall on the arc wasn't a net positive or at all, anything at all, feels rather just lame, right? And I can go on and on and on about how each world, fits into the arc. Like Celestia, we discover astromagic and how Morganth wants to use that to destroy the world. Safaria, we discover that she knows the Song of Creation and is starting to use that, which can possibly destroy the Spiral. Azteca, she literally blows up a world, which is kind of crazy, and I believe she gets her Deck of Shadows from there. Or did she get that in Zafaria? I don't know, but she got something in Azteca, I do know that. And then finally in Chrysalis, obviously, that's the culmination of all that. And I feel like, right, if you can say each of those are impactful and then say Avalon, how did that impact anything? Really, all you did was learn about Morganth's past, which isn't necessarily, needed to defeat Morganth. So ultimately, I would say that that's my idea on what makes a storyline good in Wizard101, and I hope that Lemuria will follow on this track, make it feel impactful to the rest of the story. Now, I think that they've been better at this recently. I think that this was a, not necessarily early game, but it was more an Arc 1, Arc 2 thing. Arc 3 has a pretty good storyline that ties into everything. So hopefully they continue on this line. And that's going to be it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with me, disagree with me? What storyline do you think is the worst or is bad, and why? Does it tie into what I'm saying? All that kind of stuff. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Adios.